everybody, Dr. Dane from Wellness Solution Centers, and this month we are talking about arthritis. And you know, the most common joints that we see arthritis is in the spine, particularly the cervical and lumbar spine. We also see it very commonly in the knees, the hips, the shoulders, and less commonly in the ankles and elbows. You can also get it in your wrists as well. But any joint can really be afflicted with arthritis, but there's common causes to arthritis, and I wanted to talk about some of the more common causes. One of the biggest causes that we see are previous injuries. So if you've had a trauma, like a whiplash trauma, or if you had a sporting trauma where you fractured a bone, you severely sprained an ankle or a shoulder. I dislocated my shoulder, my left shoulder, water skiing, and it's given me problems ever since. So injuries tend to be a common cause to arthritis. Another big one is illness or infections. You can actually have some infections that will infect the joint because there's so much blood flow to our joints that infections or illness can affect and cause inflammation in your joints and break down the joints. Another big cause that I see is stress, and a side effect of stress is not sleeping very well. So there's something called cytokines, and cytokines are these inflammatory molecules that actually increase in our body when we're under stress. When we're in a sympathetic fight or flight state, we increase our level of inflammation in our body because our body is getting prepared to possibly be injured. It's a primitive response, but it's a response that takes place in the body, and most of the time that inflammation, if it's ongoing, if you have short-term stress, not so bad, but if you have stress every day, then those cytokines over time can break down your joint. And sleep is a time where we shut off our sympathetic nervous system. We actually go into more of a healing parasympathetic response when we're sleeping, and that's why sleeping is actually very, very good for your joints. And a couple other ones, obviously age is, as we get older, guys, our collagen tends to shorten, which puts more compression and restriction in our joints. Our joints don't move as well. And you know, there's a concept of use it or lose it. There's fluid in every joint, and that fluid is like oil in an engine that bathes the joint. And when your joints are moving, you produce more synovial fluid, and that bathes the joint and keeps it lubricated. So as you stop moving, your joints become stiffer. That increases the arthritic damage that takes place in the joint. And then the last thing that I see is repetitive overuse stresses on the joints. So if you have a particular job that requires you to do a lot of bending or lifting, and you're constantly stressing joints, you know, if you take a piece of metal and you keep bending it and bending it and bending it and bending it, you know, it's going to break eventually. And so if you're taking a joint and you constantly repetitively use it over and over again, like a shoulder or a knee, then that joint over time will break down. So these are common causes of arthritis. Go to our website, WS Centers, read our blog on arthritis this month. There's a lot of great information on what you can do naturally to help with arthritis.